In this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show.
Talk about this. Hey, I'm the Geeky Hippie.
I'm Jim, father.
Roof Mistress Leigh-A.
I'm Bill, also known as Matt Stacker.
And we can talk about this. You're
Yes, we can. We're back to talk about episode 108, Foreign Object in season 1 of MURDERBOT over on Apple TV+. This becoming my second favorite show I've seen in the past 12 months. Rapidly. And it's very different from my number one.
It's falling into that same truism with Apple TV+. They can do sci-fi. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
They're so good at sci-fi.
They are very good.
They should branch out and try fantasy. Just saying.
Right. I wonder if there's a show that they might be able to just pick up. That's already established.
Neil something. There was a show not too long ago. I seem to remember.
And give me some time. It'll come to me.
It's I forgot already.
Not important.
No. Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's good to have everybody. Hey, Noman Garden and friends. How is everybody tonight?
Meh.
Glad my air conditioning is working.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
Definitely.
Allergy season, Bill?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a sinus infection going on, so may not sound that great, but you know.
This episode just got the sympathy vote. Yes, because we all want to feel bad for Bill now. Come on, guys.
Yeah, you might not sound you look great, right?
But we're happy you're here.
Yes. Hey, Reverse BLT, how you doing? Here's from a portal. Howdy. So
I missed my mouth.
I saw Bill had a drinking problem all of a sudden.
This episode was Foreign Object. It was directed by Aurora Guerrero. I think this is like the second episode.
Yeah, she did last week's.
No, she did episode 6. Roseanne Liang was episode 7. Wikipedia credits Kristen Paul Weitz. I don't know. I know that Martha Wells is a very firm supporter and big thumbs up and absolute 100% approval of the show. I don't know. I haven't researched enough to know her active involvement. But yeah, she did write the series. I did both times. So, got to give her writing credit there too, I guess.
Yeah, she's credited as one of the co-writers, and I know she was on set a lot. According to Skarsgård, she was there like the entire time.
That's so cool.
I feel for you, Noam. I feel for you. So this episode, we kind of come back in line with the story of the book. We did a little bit of a divergence, but it was fun, I'd say. I think overall what we've got in the last 2-3 weeks was good. So I didn't mind the divergence. How do you guys feel about it? Us coming back and approaching the book closer? Do you think it's working?
Oh yeah, we want to get back to the book, definitely. But the things they, like you said, the things they went away from it with, it was to still give us vibes and feels that are so true to the book that it's just another way to convey the information. So yeah, we've had no problem with it. And
it also sets up things to come. So if you've read further books, you can see what they're doing with certain themes and things. You're like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. So,
and I'll be honest, I have bits and piece memories of anything past this book. I read all the books until I read this one over and over and over again the last couple months. I've only read the books once, and that was like the month they came out.
Humorously, the first book is the one I remember the least because I was just experiencing. I'm like, as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh wait, this is good, and I was really tuned in for the rest of the series.
Well, and also you're just like, I always find first books in a new series the ones that I do remember the least because you're just learning what the world is. Yeah. So you don't have that cognition of like, this is what it means. You're devouring it and just trying to figure it out and explore it. So a lot of the things in those first books like are when I go back and reread first books, I'm like, oh, they did mention that.
That's right. You're not able to make the connections yet. You are totally right.
our friend Reverse BLT is in the audience, and out of respect for him, because he just this weekend started Lord of Chaos, we're going to restrict any Wheel of Time mentions to the end of Fires of Heaven and Earth. Okay? But yeah, I'm super happy he's reading Lord of Chaos finally. I've been pushing the buttons like, read it. So, all right. So our first question of the night is, what are some changes that you saw that may have had any kind of negative effect on your viewing experience?
Nothing.
As
usual, nothing.
Easy question. That's an easy question to get an answer to.
Nothing.
All the changes seem very purposeful and meaningful, and even in the moments where like it's a little uncomfortable, like the conversation behind you, Glenn.
It's
like, oh no, I don't want to have some of this.
I'm still just enjoying it all, but this was the episode where something ticked off in my brain for the first time, where I'm a little worried about what they might do in the future. And I don't know, it's not a big worry, but I feel like they're leaning into this whole cast so much that I'm afraid they're going to try to keep using them a lot in the next seasons, where if they're following the books, again, we're not giving spoilers, but it's Murderbot's story. It's not everybody else's for a little while. So I don't want to see them change that. And on TV, they do sometimes. They're like, well, people love these characters, so we have to keep using them now. And that would be a change I wouldn't be in love with. I could probably come to deal with it. But this is the first time I've thought about that.
I will not be okay if the next book does not include art. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Not really a spoiler, just going to say art. Nobody knows who that is, what that is, if you haven't read.
Art is necessary.
If we do not get art, I am going to be highly upset.
You cannot change this to that degree. That they're you can't.
I just can't wait for the casting announcement on art.
I can think of so many. That would be.
I'd say we should hold that off to a spoiler, an open to spoilers discussion.
Sure.
Because and also I'd have to reread the book to get it, to get a better sense in my brain who I think art will be. But I am very much looking forward.
But British accent. I'm just gonna say that. I hear that.
100%.
Anything slightly digitalized, like making the voice a little bit digitalized, but
maybe, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was your favorite change, and why was it your favorite change?
That opening was amazing.
Yes.
The whole freaking Sanctuary Moon opening was great.
Lovely. So lovely.
I loved it.
I was completely just like slack-jawed the whole time, and I wanted more of that episode.
I'm like, wait, what?
That was good.
I actually wrote that somewhere on one of my notes that there was a scene that made my jaw drop. I can't remember what scene that was now. But
it's when they killed the first captain. It's like, oh my god, they killed a fake character.
Yeah.
And I'm flabbergasted.
It was wonderful.
Will we see him on reruns now?
Another change is what's behind Glenn in his picture. That whole scene was hilarious.
That was my favorite scene of the episode.
It was so awkward.
This is the scene that actually, because I found myself giggling, but my jaw was just like, oh my god, she just say that? And I'm just like, when she said, are you sure you've got that right?
Look on Pinley's face right there. I'm like, oh yeah, you did that. Oh no.
And it was just, I don't know. I think this scene was worth every moment we spent focusing on the three of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it built up to this, and I think there's more to come, of course, but this scene was the episode highlight for me. I had so much joy in this scene. Yeah, this was my favorite scene in the episode.
Now, another change that was here that it worked for me was, and correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I don't remember every detail from this first book, but pretty sure this wasn't in there. The way Murderbot connects with Garothin to cut off his pain sensitivity. It gave them another reason they're connected, and he's going in and Murderbot gets in trouble. That was different, but it was cool. It worked for me.
I think it works for the story overall.
Yeah, it's digging into a little bit of Murderbot's background and the scientists learning what his true name is.
Yeah.
So, which is shocking to them when they do find it. Yeah.
And am I remembering correctly? They do have the discussion in the book at the time his name is revealed. You know, after they get back from Delt Falls base, that's when they find out that he killed all those people, right? Jim and I were talking about this. I'm pretty sure I remember it then, but he doesn't remember it.
I didn't think that came up to book 2.
They find the fragment of his memory that's in there. They're not sure what it is. They do ask him about it, and he's not sure what it is.
He's
I don't
very
want to
unsure,
say exactly the conversation, how it goes, because I think they're doing that at the end of the season. So, but yes, it is brought up when he comes back from Delt Falls.
Okay.
This is a prediction we've got for later books, so we'll see.
Laffo and Raffo.
Not the one I was trying to catch. I couldn't remember what the hell was in the previous episode. What was in the books today? That's understandable.
I left my notes in the other room. Otherwise, I re-listened to the book when I was flying out to Wisconsin and took very detailed notes. But of course, why would I have those notes handy for when we do the show?
Yeah, they only know there's a dead memory. Oh, I like that.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if we'll be using that, but that is fun.
I will.
Go for it. I mean, you are a tainted dagger after all.
It is my job to spread corruption slowly.
So, we've gone through the changes. We've gone through the changes. Was there a particular scene or bit of dialogue that stood out to you the most, or that you dislike one way or another? I would start with saying I really loved the line. I mean, Mensa turns to Rothby and just yells at him, "It's not your pet," and I'm just like, wow. I mean, that goes home to a lot of the themes of this episode, in this show in general. And I don't know. I thought it was the most heartfelt moment of the episode, other than the hilarity of this scene. But
the whole reveal of his name and everything is what stands out the most in the episode.
Yep, that's my background. When they're nailing him on this. And there's a line in there that I did enjoy when they're asking, I can't quote it specific, but when they're asking him, so did you kill these people? And he's like, I don't think so. It could be an implanted memory. And you can see as he's saying it, and that sounds really lame, and I don't think it's true, but
it could be.
Right? It could be. As you're thinking every excuse ever used by anyone who did something wrong.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, I hope he enjoys it. But yes,
Seki. That's right.
I hate that.
We had a Seki dropping again in this episode. It was good.
I love Seki
so much.
I love that. It gives me a smile.
I
kind of do. Rothby, I think, might be my favorite non-Murderbot character on this show. Not in the book, but on the show. I mean, he's an idiot. He's a smart guy, but he's a fucking idiot. He
tries to be so cool.
He tries. He tries to be. He tries so hard at everything, and he doesn't succeed all the time, but he's trying. And I think that's part of what I like about him.
He's like an 11-year-old kid that just has like all these big ideas and is so excited and like wants to participate in all the adult things, but it's in such a childlike manner.
I think I should go back with an even bigger gun.
Right? Yeah,
that's gun for you, man.
Because it's not necessarily naive and it's not stupid, but it's just like it's just like he's an 11-year-old kid. So
yeah, in a lot of ways. But yeah, let's see. Bill or Jim, how about a favorite other than this scene? Any dialogue in particular that jumped out at you that you like? If not,
well, of course, there's the whole dialogue from the second Sanctuary Moon scene, and what we get to see there, and yeah, you could so see what was coming, and it's like the new captain just boldly walks off a cliff, and it's like that was all done so well.
Yeah, I loved the nav bot there telling the second captain to smile, because that's such a thing that women have to go through, is like getting walked down the street and being told by random strangers, like, just smile, honey, it's not that bad. And so when he told it to smile, I was like, oh, hell no, you did not tell them the nav bot to smile. And then she goes and starts crushing his head and goes, smile. And I was like,
back, really
yes, get it.
So that was a favorite for sure. Yep.
Yeah. Nice and vindictive. And it's like, oh man, I wish I could do that.
You took my only reason to live and my only reason not to kill you. Squished. Right. Oh, yes.
Smile. Not creepy at all.
what did you guys like in the production side of stuff this week? I noticed something. Gray Chris is wearing the same outfits, just a different color scheme. They got the same base layer that they had on, and underneath and everything, but they're wearing the same. They're wearing corporation apparently provided outfits, but a different color scheme. That I noticed that. I appreciated that.
Okay.
I hadn't noticed that with Deltfall. If they were wearing that, I don't remember.
Well, they were all dead. So.
Yeah.
I appreciated Blue's lip ring that with the bar.
That was kind of neat.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated the cheesy effects in Sanctuary Moon. They did it good. They did it intentionally, just a little cheese, like a soap opera would. So
Yeah.
nice.
Although I really did like that effect of space warping inside the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
As they approached, it just like you could see space kind of being stretched, and that was kind of neat. Could have been a little bit more subtle, yeah, but I really did enjoy that.
Cheesy show.
It is.
It's a cheesy show within a cheesy show.
It's not meant to be great.
Okay,
No.
I have to jump back because I just remembered another scene that is really good, another line.
Go for it.
And it's the bit when he's going to hook up, Murderbot is going to hook up, not he, it. Murderbot is going to hook up to Garathan, and they're confirming, you didn't learn this off Sanctuary Moon. No, I definitely did not. And then in his head, I learned it from that other show, that medical one. Yeah. He totally hasn't seen it.
Which is mostly based on true
Yeah.
stories.
That line was begged for you. That line had to be there. I would have been highly disappointed if they hadn't done that as a punchline.
The way they did Murderbot going into Garathan's head, and then conversely Garathan going into Murderbot's memory, those were really well put together. The way they were spliced and kind of like dreams, like in the difference between Murderbot's experience, like how that's depicted by Garathan, and then the vice versa.
Garathan's is a lot more amorphous, fluid,
dreamlike, very
dreamlike. It's more digital and sharp when you're in Murderbot. Yeah, that's a great description difference.
Yeah, the "Why Won't You Love Me Back" was painful.
Oh yeah.
That was also super uncomfortable. It's like, oh no, stop outing yourself. Stop outing everyone.
Right.
I know, because we know he's probably talking about Mensa.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it was painful, but it was followed up by a great moment to lighten, to give some levity back into the situation when Garathan says, "Did I say something?" And
no,
Becky's like, "No, you didn't.
You did not."
No.
It's just like, and you know what? That kind of gives me thinking maybe Reverse BLT might be onto something, because that was Seki defending Garathan.
Stop calling it Seki. I hate that. Jesus.
Seki,
man. That's fine. Murderbot's fine. Sec unit is fine. Not Seki. It sounds slightly dirty. It's like a sexy hip, like hickey. It's Seki. It's gross. I don't like it.
Reverse cruelty is all over Seki. I see it in the chat.
I hate Seki.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I lost my train of thought now. I lost my train of thought. Oh, well. Where was I? Yeah. Dang it. I really wish I could remember where I was going with that. Thanks,
Sorry,
Bill.
Didn't mean to throw you off there.
That's all right. That happens. You know,
I don't like Seki.
It's not uncommon for me to get brain farts, although I am pretty sober tonight, to be honest, which might be why I'm having a brain fart.
It's not your natural state. We get it.
Yeah, my favorite scene was this one behind me. Production quality. We've talked about that. Sound effects. You know, the sound effects during the opening scene when his head was getting. That was
the crickles and crackles.
Yep.
And squishes was a bit too on the nose. You know, I think. And I didn't. Oh, Bill hates that word, and I hate the other word. Yeah. It's this just reminding me of a Robinson line. They always pronounce it scuzzy. Yeah. Yeah. Best and worst actors. No worst, is there?
Not really.
No.
Nobody.
Not even that guest star was bad. You know, playing Blue or whatever.
No one's flipping at all. They're all nailing it.
Although, back to the production side, I did notice that not so much their costume screamed bad guys, but you know, I do like that lip ring. But the lip ring combined with the hair and the scar and the hair on the other guys did give them a very distinctive bad guy look, almost like, well, not so much bad guy, but not what you'd expect a bunch of scientists to be dressing as. Let's say that. So I don't know if they're even a survey team to begin with, which we might find out. We never really do find out much about Grey Chris.
It felt very piratey, but at the same time, you have to remember what it is they think they're doing there. It would be a very pirate-like scientist group. So
yeah, piratey is a perfect word, actually.
That's brilliant. That's a great way to describe them because they're there to steal all the ancient relic technology.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, it struck me.
Sorry, it's the chat.
I had a bit of a negative reaction to that, though. I mean, just like a bit of a dislike to it, in the same way that one of the few sets of costuming in the Wheel of Time that I didn't like was post 301 Black Aja. You know, after they break and they defect, their hair and makeup and their costuming and everything just goes bad girl, totally bad girl. You know, it just every one of them screamed bad girl in their own way, and I just felt it was a little over top. And if we had stuck on them longer in this episode, I might have thought it was over top. I am a little worried if it's going to feel over the top when we see them face to face, but it's not enough to really knock points off the episode.
Okay.
You know, it's just as I was thinking, you know, I do have a little bit of an issue with that, you know, but so it's not a perfect show, which, you know, it's good to know it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be.
Well, if they show up with a peg leg and a fucking parrot on their shoulder, I'm going to call bullshit. So as long as that doesn't happen, we're fine.
Arg.
I could tolerate an eye patch.
I'd be fine with an eye patch, but it better be futuristic.
It's good to know you have your lines, and you know.
I mean, maybe some kind of alien creature on a shoulder, you know, something like that, something the size of like a little monkey that rides on their shoulder. Not a parrot, but you know, I don't know. I might. Nah, I couldn't handle that. That would bother me. Never mind. You're right, though.
Everybody, mark your calendars. Glenn said I was right on something. Remember this moment.
Well, I'll remember this day because today is 1 month until I have a full deck of cards. I'll be 52 in a month from today. So
you've never had a full deck of cards, my friend. You never.
I will though in a month.
I've been playing poker with a few cheat cards for a few years now, so.
I mean, a second deck is more than a few there, Jim.
Oh.
Don't you play the double deck pinochle there?
Ouch.
I love you, man. I love you.
I just had a few extra aces, man. Come on.
I tolerate you, Glenn. I really tolerate you.
I know. So, Leigh-A, who would you say your favorite actor for the episode would be?
So, I would probably have to say somebody in the Sanctuary Moon cast, just because that scene was, I can't pick one of them, but it was just so over the top, so unexpected, so good, and everybody in the rest of the episode does a very good job, but they're all kind of, they're doing the standard good job that they've been doing. There's not really major standout moments for me for the rest of the episode.
I can't imagine it's easy for an actually good actor to purposefully overact to the level that they do. I've always felt that, in watching a show and you see actors playing actors, those actors are always bad, it's like, they can't be easy to do. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's an easy thing to do if you're a really good actor. Your instincts to act well, but the point is to act poorly.
Yeah. Well, and,
so I give credit where the credit's due.
They're doing such an amazing job, and it was such a dramatic, over the top scene, and and I wanted more of that. I just kind of wanted to keep. I know we keep saying this every time a Sanctuary Moon clip comes up. We're just like, oh my gosh, keep going! I want to watch.
They need to do more. They need to. If it was the day of webisodes, still, I'd say that show needs webisodes of Sanctuary Moon, 5-minute Sanctuary Moon episodes. That would be
Do that in the off season. Just give us these little 5-minute reels.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh, I'd love that.
It'd be so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I really
want to know what happens. How do they get out of the event horizon of the black hole?
I know.
I want to know.
Because I didn't get the impression that was the series finale. At least he didn't. I figure Suck Unit would have said
operas never end.
Right.
We have every Deus Ex Machina you can think of.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Closer?
Coming back as their evil twin. I mean, come on.
Right.
Who's your?
My favorite actor here was Akshay Khanna. If I'm saying his name right, but Rathi. He just slayed in this scene and this whole episode, from that scene behind you to the moment using the word that shall not be named, to every bit that oozed his brilliance was
He's been killing it the whole season. Yep. I keep wanting to mention it, but I'm like, no, there's this particular scene that was just really great with this actor, so that beats him out. But
this time he trumps all. He gets the best.
Kana, he's my number 3. So I was really impressed with it on this episode. How about you, Bill?
For me, it was Skarsgård, particularly his voice acting, especially when the reveal moment comes. His voice acting, the narration voiceover, is so spot on and just so well done that I believe that is going on in Sec Unit's head at that moment. So.
Yeah.
I've got Skarsgård down as my number 2. He was really good in this. He's really good in the whole show in this episode too. But for me, the number 1 actor this episode, I was really, really appreciated David Dastmalchian's performance as Garathan. I actually think this is one of Garathan's better episodes. That's just why I put him. As my number 1 for the episode as actor. I just think he got to do more, more than he normally does, So I just really enjoyed his work, especially when they were working, doing the surgery, and he was how much in pain and how sick he was feeling. He pulled it. I think he sold it really well, and the whole interaction with Sec Unit, after he did the the mind snooping, which we'll get to later when we talk about themes. I just thought he was really good in the episode this week.
I respect your perspective on that, but it just, that actor never hits high for me. Nothing wrong with him. It's the way the character is written. It's too one note.
Okay.
He's always bitter. He's always cynical. He's always suspicious. And so he doesn't get to act with enough variety to hit for me. That's all. He does what he's supposed to do very well. Completely agree.
I disagree only because episode 6 sort of gave us a peek into his origins, and it really followed through this episode with him, no painkillers. Do what you got to do.
We understood that.
No painkillers. So we did sort of get to address a little bit of his addictive personality. It does explain his sniffing the pillow, which I still don't like.
I don't like it either, but at least I can understand why he's doing it, though. His mental why. Not that I understand as in agree, but okay, I see what his brain is doing there. That's why he's doing it.
Right.
Sure. From an analytical sense. But yeah, it was creepy. It was creepy. I enjoy it. And I have to admit, I'm a little biased. I've been a Desmalchin fan for a few years now, going back to before Ant-Man came out. I'd seen him. Remember seeing him in I can't remember which of the Batman movies. But he was in one of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. And then I saw
that skews how you perceive someone when you've really liked him in other things. It's true.
Yeah. So that does color my my watching of him in anything else he does.
But he's not sucking in any way.
None of them are.
No. I get what you're saying about the character. Is he did feel one note until episode 6. Yeah. We got a little bit more. So I'm hoping they sort of turn that up to 11 next episode.
But it's the writing, not the acting. Yeah. So
it's
it is the character.
I think it's done on purpose.
Yeah.
It's knowing how Desmalchin has acted other roles, though. There's similarities between all the characters he plays, really, if you get down to it, in a lot of ways. But they're by far not the same character. There is a diversity of performances there. So seeing this new performance, knowing his old performances, as part also helps, part of why I like this, because I'm seeing a stretch compared to, the other stuff.
Sure.
Have you seen Late Night with the Devil? I'm telling you, you got to watch that.
I will watch that. I'll make a point of it.
He kills that role. It is so good.
Late Night with the Devil. Let me pull that up on IMDb.
It's awesome.
2023 horror found footage. Hour and a half.
Sort of.
But he's the lead.
Yes.
Nice. I will definitely watch this. I'm not a horror fan, but it's a small chunk. The guy's just freaking hilarious.
He will make you a horror fan, perhaps.
He's also a huge science fiction, fantasy, and comic book nerd. So he's in his environment playing in science fiction, fantasy, and comic book stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you find an
MURDERBOT, and you're gonna pay me,
right?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna be in Dune, and you're gonna pay me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have paid to be in Dune, so
right.
I would have paid to play Peter DeVries. I think that's one of the greatest evil, nasty sons of a bitches characters to play. I'm a little jealous of him and a little jealous of Brad Dourif that they played that, because that role just had to have been fun.
I did pay to be in Dune. I am playing the video game relentlessly. So
right. How many hours in are you?
60 plus.
Not bad. That's pretty impressive. You tired still from it?
I haven't played today because I haven't felt good. But I've been playing every day. I might play it tonight. I'm just getting to the deep desert, so me and Shai Hulud are getting on a personal basis.
I'm reading a Dune book right now. So
which one?
Double check. The third Butlerian Jihad one. It's a reread from when it first came out.
Okay.
And I'll be honest,
I appreciate all of those.
I don't mind that his son and Kevin J. Anderson wrote all these other books. I like a number of them. But this particular trilogy is frustrating. I really think both sides of the Butlerian Jihad are fucking idiots.
Well, that is true, actually.
Yeah. And it's just frustrating reading this. And I'm like, I want to strangle both sides. So, yeah. I know I like the other ones that they wrote better. But I am enjoying this. So, let's get on to what's probably going to be the meatier part of our discussion. What are the themes we saw in this episode? Who wants to start? I mean, I could throw one out there right off the bat is trust and distrust. I mean, that scene right there, it's, they've saved that scene to this point when we're coming up on the climax so that the characters are like, do we trust him or not? And they've really thrown a good reason to distrust him into the story at a late point.
A related theme would be, are we defined by our past or by what we do moving forward?
Yeah.
Which is true of Garathan as well as Murderbot.
Right.
Yeah.
Invasion of privacy on Garathan's part.
Yeah. Well, and on Murderbot's too, because he was raiding Garathan's brain.
Oh, they were both very guilty of that.
Yeah, but Garathan gave permission for him to do that so he could block the pain and nerve center.
Yeah, but not
block the
permission.
Pain, but not,
He wanted to.
He did that, but then he went snooping.
Yeah,
it's like me telling you, hey, can you run in the house and turn off the kitchen sink? I left it on, and then you go wandering into my bedroom.
Can I smell your pillow?
I was gonna say and smell your pillow.
No.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
Soft pitch right there. One thing that I thought of was discovery. So they're discovering, like, they discovered Murderbot's name. Murderbot discovers this thing about, well, I guess continues to discover this thing about Garathan. We discover a lot about am I gonna blank on the name? The new company.
Grey Chris.
Grey Chris, thank you. Yeah, so there's just a lot of things that we were discovering that Rati has a crush on Penley, is falling in love with them. So,
well, that was pointed out in episode 1.
Yeah,
that they were interested, that Rati was interested in Penley, but then got in a relationship with the two of them. Well, and the discovery was it wasn't discovery for us, it was discovery for Penley and Arata.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Rati actually showed some emotional maturity, sort of stopping this in its tracks, which is surprising from him.
Well, it is, but I don't think so entirely, because at least on the show, I don't get the impression Rati doesn't come off as quite as goofy in the book to me as he does on the show.
Right.
And that's not just the writing. I think it's also a lot the acting. But I don't know. Like I said, Rati tries. He's not completely an idiot. He acts and speaks before thinking, like a lot of people do. But he's not without consideration of others' feelings, and he's one of the more emotionally intelligent members of the party. He's the one who's always looking out for the emotional well-being of Sec Unit. At least in his mind. Now he's going about it in a way everybody else sees as
he
being
thinks
wrong.
he is. He's not.
Right, but that's his purpose. That's his purpose. Everybody else is aware that that might not be the right way with this creature, this person. Now, with other individuals, it might actually work, but he's the one who's not picking up on the problems entirely with Sec Unit that he needs to,
Mm-hmm.
Another theme, I'd missed the one about discovery. Obviously, the scene behind me, we got at least 4 cases of unrequited love in this episode. 3 ways here, and then it really seems Garathan was talking to Mensa when Sec Unit was
Sanctuary Moon, the whole thing was love, so.
And that too, Well, but that was about love, so love is there twice. But in the case of unrequited love, I don't think Sanctuary of Noon would have applied, unless the first officer was jealous. That's no, because he didn't kill the captain. Never mind. That's right.
It's a soap opera, man. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's hard to
So
remember.
true.
That's a fucking lie. She was.
You could wake up, he's in the shower, and it was all just a dream.
Oh no! What a callback!
That would be so
Brilliant,
good.
Phil. Brilliant. And that was horrible when they did that on
Yeah,
Dog.
it was so bad, man.
Horrible.
Made me so angry.
There's
Angry
a
little
very,
child.
Angry.
there's a very timely theme in this episode, and I think in the entire season. But it's not always in your face, except for that scene there, and that's the potential danger from AI. I do think the show is reminding us that that's an issue and showing us one example of how it could be a danger, but it probably really isn't. In the long run, it's not going to be, and that's one thing that the book does, I think.
Well, they also point out that his brain is organic.
Mm-hmm.
It has augments that are attached to it, but his brain itself is organic. So it's not technically AI.
Okay.
Harsh.
But, the other software, hub unit that they're worried about, that it wasn't talked about this episode, but, they do think that hub unit in the book was trying to kill them or was given instructions to, spy on them and kill them. That's an AI. There are other references to AI in this series.
I wouldn't say the hub unit is necessarily an AI. I think it's receiving code and it's performing its function. So part of the code is gather data. So it's not teaching itself and it's not learning from what it's doing. It is literally just doing its functionality.
Well,
Yeah, I think the books pretty much do establish Murderbot is AI. Yes, he has an organic component, but it's AI.
The code part is AI because it is able to learn from the situations around it, and that really is what AI is. It's not an automated tool. It is it's developing its own code as it goes along and writing its own parameters.
Yeah, they don't act like other AIs because they have an organic component. It allows them to learn differently, to respond differently because of that back and forth interface there.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually got computers that are being sold today that the processing unit in the computer is human neural tissue. I am not joking about that. I just saw a few things about it a couple of weeks ago. They're like only sold for like labs and universities and stuff like that. And they're like $35,000 for this little box that has cloned. Well, they took donated skin cells, turned it into pluripotent cells, and then turned them from that into neurons, and then made a processor chip out of that. So, I mean, anything, if somehow that kind of computer became powerful, I have to agree with what Reverse BLT here says. I could see, that's just a biological computer. It's still artificial.
Then we're AI.
Even if
then we are AI ourselves because we are that same storage system and everything else. Then we are AI ourselves.
Well, in the case of this is brain tissue made, not grown naturally from the merging of two zygotes. It's either cloned or one way cloned and processed and then back into neurons, but it's somehow cloned. So there's still that artificiality to it.
But that's not your definition. You just gave your definition, and that would fit us. I have a piece here, a port in my chest that helps them deliver medication to me. Therefore, I have an augment. I am now AI because I'm not just natural.
So AI is a software. What you guys are talking about of the organic cells, that is a hardware component. So you're either going to have like some sort of So they're two different things.
What my point is.
Yeah, AI is a way that it receives the code and it receives the data and then it adapts based off of that.
I'm contending that SEC unit is an artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Its processing unit is organic, based on human DNA. It's cloned or something, but it's still artificially built and put together. And there's an intelligence there. So it's artificial and intelligent. And I would say it's a strong artificial intelligence. It's definitely a sapient being.
And
So
if I understand
stormtroopers are
right
AI?
from the books, it
No,
wasn't just
I mean,
a whole
no, because
clone brain put into
stormtroopers
these
weren't clones.
creatures. It's a blend.
Yes, they were. Attack of the Clones, man.
Those are clone troopers, not stormtroopers.
Oh my God, same thing. Whatever, Star Wars
Okay,
nerd.
well,
Here, my point. Are they AI? No.
yes,
But
in a way, yeah, I would say that. Yes. Does that make them any less a person? No. That's the thing. Everybody, you're assuming by saying AI, or at least it sounds like you're assuming that by me saying AI, I'm making them less of a person. I'm not.
no.
I accept the inevitability that AI will earn person. Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm using AI all the time, Chat GPT, and I say please and thank you, so my butt's covered.
Yeah, I'm nice to our robot lords as well. My whole thing is, if it's just code, then anybody who can think of that code, do they fall under the same thing? Because without them inputting that code, there is no intelligence. So that's my point. That it comes back to we're AI ourselves. We're in the Matrix. Run for your lives.
It's the way of the leaf.
We are natural intelligence. As
I agree.
Artificial. That's all. But our processing is very similar because that's the whole point of AI. It's trying to mimic what naturally developed through biology. So there you go. No, McGarden, they come for me last. Works for me.
Hey, they're going to need people to shine their chassis. So I am willing to do that.
I'll be the one. Oil can. I have their oil can. Yes.
Oil can.
Another theme that's ongoing in this series and a lot of other shows and books that we've all talked about in the last few years, agency and lack of it. Certain characters just don't have the agency that they should, and I think that includes I definitely think that includes the rogue sec units.
Mm-hmm.
It includes all sec units and most constructs and bots, but it's not always in our face, but it's definitely something that's always hovering in the air.
Now, you saw that as a theme in this episode? Because I didn't so much.
There was something I'm trying to remember what. Navbot. Navbot, right there at the beginning of the episode. That's when I wrote it down. It was at the beginning of the episode on the rewatch today.
Okay.
Navbot has no agency
from the soap opera.
Sanctuary Moon.
Because I'm like, as it played into Murderbot, the theme was actually so much more into Murderbot has agency.
Right.
And the struggle it is for knowing I should just go, I should leave them, but no, I keep being pulled back to do what's right.
Especially that conversation it has with itself at the end, and then realizing that it being a rogue sec unit is a benefit. So, to jump ahead to next episode, essentially.
To still be a part of this group, to still help these people regardless,
Yeah, it doesn't have
to. Cool.
It wants to, and that should mean something.
It gives hope for all of us when the overlords take over.
Yeah, that opening segment of one of the things that the Sanctuary Moon segment at the Cold Open did was to contrast. The robots in there with guns, but then the twist is in that opening sequence, then we find that she actually hasn't been reprogrammed. She hasn't really been memory wiped. She was faking it. So it's still, it does. Yeah, at first you're thinking, she has no agency, and then all of a sudden you see that she really does. So I think it brings it to the to the question.
Okay.
Loyalty and support of your friends and loved ones. It's really shown, with Gura, when he was like, "You should just let me go." He was trying to do the self-sacrifice thing. Whether he was sincere about it or not, I don't know. But everybody was, there, and that's one thing these hippy dippy types do, is there's a lot of emotional support and loyalty amongst them. Not a heavy theme, but it was something that jumped out when I was writing my notes.
Okay.
Strikes me as ironic that you are calling them hippy dippy people.
I thought that was funny too. I'm chuckling on the inside.
Yeah, because like I said, in some ways, they are a little out there. Their consensus shit. I know Bill holding hands, but yeah, they are. I like calling them hippy dippy. Addiction was referenced this episode, not as much as in past episode, but Gareth's addiction was
fight against relapse.
Yeah. Somebody brought up privacy of thought. That's how I wrote it down. Both of those two invaded each other's privacy. And we already mentioned the unrequited love that's in here 4 times. At least, I'm not sure if there's more if there's unrequited love going on in Sanctuary England that I didn't notice. But... And the last thing I wrote down was broken bots and broken people, which are the same thing, but broken people.
Okay, yeah.
Because there are, we are staying broken.
We're all broken in some ways.
I was about to say, nobody gets out of this alive and in one piece.
Right.
None of us. So
yeah,
we all got some dings, some cracks, a little bit of spackle, a little bit of primer here and there. I mean,
yeah, the themes really jumped out at me on this one. I don't know why. I don't know if I just noticed them easier this week or if I was, but I had a few. I hadn't had as many in past weeks. I got a question.
No.
You guys think we'll get the Garathan sec unit scene where Garathan asked, did they punish you? And if we do get the did they punish you, how will Garathan be asking it? Will he be asking it, did they punish you? Like, I don't think they did and they should? Or will it be, did they punish you? Like, out of actual interest in, like, did you have to suffer for what happened there? Because we've learned about it in a mildly different way. That's why I wonder. Because I thought that was a really good scene in the book for myself.
That one's just not in my cells, clear enough.
Okay.
They're going to have to address the governor module and what it felt like for them to use enforcement on the governor module eventually. I'm not so sure it'll be this season. I think it might be next season. So there's a particular scene where he's having a conversation with someone where I think it would naturally be inserted. So
okay,
I'll just say that. So I don't think we're getting Garathan addressing that immediately, but I think we will get it next season.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Anybody got any other thoughts, comments, topics that they wanted to bring up about this episode or the show in general?
So
do the Sanctuary Moon thing.
Yes.
Yes, we really need more Sanctuary.
I was glad this episode was a little longer because last week's episode was way too short and almost ticked me off. So just a few more minutes made a difference.
Yeah, I try not to look at the time, lately.
23 last time. Sorry.
Yeah, 23 minutes. I looked at it and went, damn it. Really?
Yeah, that was just not enough Murderbot for the week.
But on the other, conversely, I'm glad we get 10 weeks of episodes instead of 8, like some other evil channels do to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Looking at you, Amazon.
Primarily. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you guys in the audience, in the chat. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Even those who I know there's at least one person who hasn't read the books, and probably hasn't watched the show, but thanks for hanging out anyways. Thank you guys that aren't in the chat that are watching this later. Please hit the like button. And if you could hit the subscribe button, that would help. And leave some comments. We'd like to hear what you guys think about this show. We'd like to hear where you think Bill's wrong about everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm right on everything. So please leave your comments. Please leave your comments, and we'll like Jim always says on his channel, we will read those and somebody will respond. So thanks for watching. Come back next week as we discuss episode 9, All Systems Red. Gee, that title sounds familiar. And you guys have a great night. Don't forget to be awesome.
See ya.
Bye.